Hi friends, welcome to Creating with Jovi and Out with a Bang 26. I want to just mention, please excuse the mess behind me. Many of you know that we have just moved into this house and I am organizing and trying to put things where I want them to be. I am pre-recording this video, so I'm hoping actually that when you see this video, this is much further along and much cleaner. But I did have to pre-record because I need to get it done. I never like to be late. I always like to be ahead of time. So I wanted to jump in and get this journal finished for this collaboration. Now, today is part 2 of this process, and we are creating an altered book junk journal. And it is the book of A Midsummer Night's Dream, written by Shakespeare. There are illustrations inside. I'll be using Julie's printable kit, which is heirloom sunflowers. Please check out Mandy with Sunflowers Indoors and also Julie with Julie's Papercraft. They are our fearless leaders. And then also please check out all the collaborations. There are at least one collaborator every single day, and most days there are 2. So many awesome videos to inspire you, right? There are printable kits and there are freebies. So check all of that out, get involved, play along, support the collab. We would love that so much. All right, let's get started on finishing up this altered book. Tomorrow is my official day for the collaboration, and it will be the completed flip through of this journal. All right, my friends, to keep our creativity flowing, I grabbed some papers out of my stash. I want to show them to you real quick so that as I build pages, you'll know where I got these and why I got them and whatnot. This is a vintage paper. I don't know what it's 1966. And it's something about payroll. And listen to it. It's got a nice crunchy sound. This one's even crunchier. And this is a copy, it appears, from 1963. And so I thought it felt cool and it sounded cool. This is another one, another crinkly paper, so I loved that, and I thought we could maybe work this in. This is also 1963. And then this was in my stash. It is shiny. It's not metallic, but it's like pearlescent, and the color is perfect, so I thought we'd grab that. I grabbed this piece of letterhead, and I thought the colors were really good, and so it might work its way in. We'll see. This is a piece of handmade paper. I actually made this paper. This is a real flower on here. It looks like it might come off, but I could glue that on. It's pretty stiff, but I thought this would be fantastic for layering or framing. This is a piece of gel print that I did with a stencil, and I love the colors. I think they're great, and they will look really, really fun with the printable kit, so I definitely grabbed that. Here's another one. This has some earth tones on it. It's got some browns, some oranges, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green, and I thought, hey, that's interesting. Grab that. Now, these are some eco-dyed papers that I created myself, and there's still some petals on them. The texture, it's soft, but yet, I don't know, it's really hard to explain, and I love it, so I thought these would be fun. Here's another one. And then here are some vintage, this is a vintage book cover, and it's about Denmark, and I wish it had 1907. No, I'm sorry, that's a dress. That's an address. I don't know what the date is, but it's old, and so I went ahead and dyed that with Rit dye. And then this is vintage book page also. It might have even come out of that book. Probably it did. And this is Rit dye. Vintage music paper, Rit dyed. Now this is a piece of handmade paper too. I didn't make this one though. I did purchase this, and it's really cool and really big. And then here's one more piece of vintage. Let's see, this is 1985. It is vintage. It's not as old as the other ones, but it's 1985, and it's a handwritten letter on the back. So that's always kind of fun and interesting to use that kind of stuff. So that's what I grabbed, and now we can feel inspired, additionally inspired, extra inspired for our next spread. All right, my friends, I thought what we could do is have a nice page where it would be for writing. So I'm going to pop this down. Now this is the stationery that I showed you, and we're going to pop that down on both sides. All right, my friends, to make sure that we're bringing our theme in to the pages, I went ahead and cut out the sunflower ephemera from the kit, and I'm going to glue this one, since it's a hanging basket, that's going to go up here, and then we'll put this one down here. I could put it on this side so we don't cover up the bunny. So I'm either covering the bunny or it's going on this side. I think we'll do it on this side. Yeah, how about that? All right, my friends, that was an easy spread, and I think these pieces fit really nicely with that stationery. So let's move on over to the next. So we have some of the story here. So I think what we'll do is let's leave this page as is. Maybe we just add a little embellishment to it. Even the texture of this paper is different. It's glossy, and this is soft. So let's go ahead and do one page, and maybe let's do something a little different. All right, so I took this piece, I backed it on this nice thick book page, and I attached it with washi so it can be flipped up. And I was gonna add something underneath to like block out the script, but I decided I'd leave it, because what if somebody wants to write over it with a gel pen, or put a picture there, or do a drawing or something like that. So I figured I'd leave it the way it is. I thought that was kind of fun. And then whoever ends up with this journal can put whatever it is that they want there. So the next page, I'm not going to do anything to this. It's an image from the book, so we're going to leave that as it is. All right, my friends, I really want to use this big gigantic sheet of handmade paper. So that is what we are going to do. I'm really tempted to keep it into one piece and not glue the center in, just sort of let it be loose. But is that weird? I mean, it would be interesting. I don't know if it would be weird. I'm so torn. And then I'm also thinking of gluing the whole thing down, letting it dry, and then tearing the edges away instead of cutting it. And then we would hopefully get like some jagged edges, sort of messy and unpredictable. I was thinking about that. You know what? You live once, so let's go ahead and I'll just put glue like a 1/4 inch away, so I won't get any in here, so it won't get weird. It'll be loose, and it might not even fold properly, but we're gonna own it, we're gonna accept it, and we're gonna just go with it. I think that's the best way to do this. All right, I'm gonna get the glue onto the page, and then I'll turn the camera back on. My friends, the glue is on. Let's get our paper, and I'm gonna set it down, and then I'm going to press it down. And then I'm gonna press it with my scissors. Oh, maybe not. Look, got a little bit of a tear. That's okay. It must have been really thin right there. So it's okay. We'll just press it with our fingers. We're tearing it away anyway when we think it's dry. Now, before I do anything else, let's do like this. And let's make sure that, oh yeah, that's gonna be perfectly fine. There's a little spot there that's folding out. I don't care. That's perfectly fine with me. It's just fun to kind of have it. Oh yeah, and there's a fold here now. And that's why I don't do this very often. I typically don't like it when it folds and it gets weird and crunchy and just jammed up in there. But for this one, I'm just kind of in the mood to let it sort of just be what it's gonna be, right? Okay, so I'm gonna take a minute to press this down. And then you know what? Let me just talk through it with you. I'm going to do this, but then we're going to flip over to the next page while this dries, because if I start pulling the paper away now before this glue is dry, then it won't stick anywhere. It'll just be a hot mess. So I've pressed it down. Make sure I've been thorough. I believe that I have. We're just going to make sure. Okay. And actually, I could go over here to this side and use my scissors, as long as they're clean, and do a little pressing this way. That is the better way to do it. Yeah, that's going to work out great. So we'll just do that. And then let's do the same on the other side. Let me get the edges. I know I didn't take the glue right up to the edge because I wanted the, to tear. but still, I'm gonna just spread that around as best as I can. And then we're gonna do the same thing over here. All right, my friends, while we are waiting for this page to dry, I went ahead and created a small pocket, and we're gonna pop it down right here. And I decided to leave this page the way it is. It could be colored in, it could be added to, whatever. I like this, and I thought I'd go ahead and find some fun ephemera. This is authentic, and it is definitely vintage. Gosh, I wish there was a date on it, but I don't see one. It's kind of cool though. I'm not even sure what this is for. You guys will have to let me know if you know what it's for. It's a travel ticket maybe though. It says place. They're supposed to collect. There's a telephone number. Okay, the telephone number only has 4 digits. So this had to be a really long time ago. I love it. Yeah, and there's a route here. This might have been a train ticket. It's so cool. I hate to use these, but I love to use them. Like, I hate to use them, but I have to use them, right? Oh, look, and there's a stamp on the back with like a time. Really interesting. If any of you know how old this might be, let me know in the comments below. It's really cool. All right, anyway. Oh, place, California. Lompoc, California. I never heard of that. Anyway, here we go. Popping it in the pocket. Okay, we might put something else in that pocket later, but I'm inspired to use this right now. Okay, do we leave this plain? Do we add some of this letter to it? Do we add something else that's torn? It's not bad to add this letter. Hold on, this could be kind of cool addition, right? So we've got it cut. I did take the date off, but that's okay. It is vintage. We could go ahead and add a little, it was 1985. We could add a little bit of ink to the edges. Okay, right? And then I'm thinking, what if we just started right here and we just went right across? I love that. Let's do it. Now I'm feeling inspired to add more. Isn't it funny how that can happen sometimes? So let's go ahead. We're going to cut out this umbrella. I am not worrying about cutting out the tassels. That's a little too fussy. I need a smaller pair of scissors though. We're going to go up our little umbrella handle here on this side, and then I need to go ahead and go around it on this side. I'm going to do the best I can to get this handle off of here. Wish me luck. What I meant to say was cut out, not off of here. I don't expect it to be perfect, of course, but there. I think we got it. I think we got it good enough, right? Yep, and then we'll add some brown ink around all of the edges. So friends, at first I was thinking I was gonna add it to the bottom of the page, but then I tried it on right here and I really, really like it. So that's where it's gonna go. I'm going to ink the edge of this page here real quick. And I think we're done with this spread. All right, my friends, so we've got this scrap. I don't know if you remember it, but here it is. And I think just to bring in our colors and our feeling, we're gonna add that right here like a banner over here on this page. Okay, turning back here, let's go ahead and start doing a little bit of tearing. We'll give it a little test, see how it goes. Okay, so far so good. Now I don't want it to, that center is not glued down, so we don't want to tear that, right? We want to be careful of that. Okay, this is tearing nicely. I might keep this piece. It's nice shape. I'll keep that in case I want to glue it to a page somewhere, just for funsies. All right, let's see what we can do here on this edge. This edge is a little bit thicker, but it's coming off, which is great. Oh, I like it. Okay, and then I have this to play with as well. I'm going to go ahead and get a little ink around the edge here. Something I love about this is I can actually see the writing through the paper where there's thin spots. I'm pretty sure you guys can see it too. And I think that looks so cool. And then the question was, do I just leave this like this? You know what, I'm going to. I will add an embellishment. All right, my friends, as promised, I went ahead and I cut out some of the little cut apart pieces from the printable kit, and we're just gonna put these down here. I think that looks super pretty. The colors are literally perfection. And I wonder, you know, do I want to put this one up in the top on either side? You know, I kind of like the cleanliness and the simplicity of this because there's so much going on with the paper itself. It's very textural. I wish you could feel it, but you have to take my word for it, I guess. Okay, moving on then. Alrighty, my friends, moving on. Here's some more art. Oh, that's right, we saw these. And I went back, that's right, I went back to do the glue thing. So here we are. I'm feeling like I should add something right up here. Tag in the kit, and I think this is perfect here. I'll even move it over just a little bit to sort of offset it. But I think that's pretty cute. I like that as a nice little addition. This over here, it's such a great space for writing or adding to, so I really feel like I'm gonna leave it alone. And this as well, this could be written on with a gel pen or something could be added to it. So I feel like I'm gonna leave that, or somebody might just want it the way it is so that they could actually read it. So that being said, we're moving over to this page now. So this can be opened up just like that, and a lot of writing space here. The back, if you use a gel pen, or you could add a photo, whatever you want, but you could do something with that. This, let's just go ahead. Well, interesting. You know, I was thinking I could put something here if I wanted, but then I don't want to make it like bumpy, because if somebody wants to spread this out and write on it this way, it's nice and smooth right now. I could add a full page to it and it would stay smooth, but it might be good to see the art. I'm not sure. So since I'm not sure, let's go ahead and leave it the way that it is. I'll add a little ink down the side here like that. All right, let's do something we haven't done yet. Let's push these 2 pages in like that. And then let's fold them. And then let's go ahead and add glue right here. Add a little here too, why not? And we're just going to smash these together. Hold on one second. One of them didn't fold perfectly and the page is like sticking up. Let me see if I can adjust that real quick. There we go. That should work. There we go. Okay. Now we're putting these back together. Okay, while those are drying, I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges. All right, so this is going to just be a nice little pocket for us. Then if you wanted to, you could add something tall in the small top and bottom, but I'm just going to add something right here in the center. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and decide what we're going to pop in there, and it's going to stick out. It'll stick out this way. That makes sense? All right, my friends, we got these set and we are going to pop them right in here. Oh my goodness, I think I could fit a third. Oh, I think I could. Let's see. You know what? Why not? Let's get another one. Let me see if this would be tall enough. I probably need something bigger. Okay, my friends, we made this little ticket and we are going to pop this right in here. I love it. I love how this looks. Actually, let's do them according to height. There we go, right? Yeah, I like that. I think that looks pretty neat. Look, isn't that neat? It's cool. Okay. Oh, and then we could decorate this also. We could decorate it, we could leave it the way it is. Let me think about it. All right, I went ahead and I added this just as a little bit of a decoration, and then I added one over here on this side. I'm going to add some of this scrap handmade paper over here on this edge to frame the picture a little bit. And then I've got one more piece and I think I'll go ahead and add it up here. That way I won't cover the words at the bottom. There's just a few words at the bottom, but I think we'll leave those exposed. All right, my friends, so we have this book cover. I showed this to you at one point in this video, so I think let's go ahead. We're gonna put this in here, right here. I think the colors look fantastic next to this picture. I'm not gonna do a whole lot to it because I don't wanna cover a bunch of it, but I will put something here, and then it'll be a beautiful space for writing. Okay, let's do it. We'll go ahead and glue this cute little tag here onto the cover. I've got some really small tags, and tickets, and it might be fun to see if I can try to get them under here a little bit and take up just a little bit more of the space on this cover. I'm gonna add a little bit more glue here. Okay, let's check this out. So we've got that, and we open it up, tons of writing space. Do we need to add something inside? This is kind of cute. It could go up here in the, oh, I like that. Yep, let's glue that down. And I'll have it come off of the green part and go up into the corner. And I just think that's a little bit more interesting. This is kind of big. We could use it if we wanted. Oh, it takes up so much space though. Let's not do that. But what about, just a little cluster of flowers down here? That's pretty. What do you guys think about that? So we'd have this up in the corner that has some sunflowers, then we'd have the bigger one over on this side. I think that's cute. Let's do it. Over on this side, let's do a paper flip. Okay, and we're going to use my eco-dyed papers. They are definitely earth tones, and I think that'll be fantastic. I've got some Tim Holtz washi tape here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add a bead of glue across the top of the paper. That way we are sure that it's going to stay on, because sometimes we don't trust washi tape all the time. And so I'm going to glue this down. And actually I have another piece. Where did it go? Okay, I'm going to double layer this. So I'm going to put this one right on top of that one with a little bead of glue. Then I am going to add the washi tape, and then it'll look like it's attached with the washi. And it just gives it a little bit more interest. And I do like to actually add glue under my washi to make sure that stays on too. All right, I prepped to cut apart from the kit. Should it go up here? Oh, I do think so. Yep, it's got to go at the top. Okie dokie. We try it on, and then sometimes we just know as soon as we see it. And I like that. So that looks great up there. The colors are perfect. Okay, now I'd like to do something on this side, and I think I'd like to use this fantastic young lady. Look at her. Isn't she great? Now, if there was a name on her, I'd try to find her family on Ancestry, but there's no name. So let's go ahead and use her. And let's go ahead and do something similar to what we did way over here. Okay, so remember when we did this page? I would like to do something similar, but different, but similar. All right, so we've got our fabulous girl here, and I like the layers on the other page. I really like how that turned out, but this time I'd like to add maybe small spaces to tuck like this card and maybe some of the tickets. So let's think about that. In that case, we're gonna start small. Is that what we did last time? Did we start small and go bigger? We did, but we're gonna do the glue sort of opposite-ish. Anyway, let's get started. We're just going to go ahead and tack her down. That is the first thing that we are going to do. All right, the first thing we're going to do is get the layer that is going to sort of cover the page. How about if we go in with this book page? That'll be kind of cool, right? If I want to show some of her, it must at least go like here. So let me just cut this a little right here. I'm going to mark that. Okay. And then I want it to cut off right about here. Okay, got that. And then the sides I'm going to leave the way they are. Am I? No. The sides are coming in to here. And then this one, oh, this one's tight. So this one's gonna come into here. All right, let's see what happens. Worst case, I can throw this away and start over. But let's see what happens when we tear away this much. Is this too much? I don't know, let's just go for it. We'll figure it out. All right, let's check it out. That is good. Is it upside down? No, okay. That is good. Now the next, okay, let's focus on this. I need to edge, I need to get the ink on there on the inside, and we'll do some on the outside too, why not? It gives it a little bit of contrast and interest. I don't usually ink that much, but in something like this, you almost need to. It kind of just helps. We have a vintage vibe going on here for sure, a vintage vibe. Kind of helps pull things together. All right, my friends, I could not talk about this and think about it at the same time because I really had to think about it because of what I was trying to do with it. But now I feel like I'm ready to try to explain it. And I don't even know if it's going to come out the way that I hope it does. But I do know that the first thing that we're going to do is glue down this base layer here. And this is going to frame our girl. And hopefully, like I said, this comes out the way that I want. Okay, here we are, getting her in the frame. Her shoes are cute, so let's get some of those shoes in there. All right, now the rest of this is going to be up to this green one. So we're putting the green one down. But what I want to be able to do is tuck things in the green one. So I feel like we need to tear some of the green one and make it look really organic, and then create these interesting like spots or places where we could tuck small things. For example, we could, well, first of all, I want to get rid of this corner over here because I'd like to expose this one. You know, I want the other paper to show too. And I could ink that, but I'm going to leave it because it's still got that green color in it and it's lighter. So we got that. Then let's say we want to tuck something small here. So I need to make sure that I do not put any glue on this edge. I can put it down here and I can put it here, but I can't put it here. Okay, hopefully that's making sense. And then let's say that we want to add another place to tuck something. You know what I could do? I could cut like a little thing right here. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and almost fold it. I don't want to make a fold mark, but we're gonna like that. And then I'll see if I can just cut this out a little bit. And then let me grab one of these tickets. How big does it need? Oh, we're close, actually. We're pretty darn close. All right, let's see. We could just be a little bit bigger and then we've got it. That's probably more than enough, but let's see. Yeah, that can go right in there like that. Okay, I'm liking it. Yeah, I'm liking it. And then the glue would go here. So when we start adding glue, I'm gonna have to really be thinking about this and make sure I'm getting it on here correctly. All right, so we'll have a spot for a ticket here. I think that's great. We'll have a spot for this little card right here. Okay, so I'm only gonna wanna add glue down here, okay? And then it would be cool if we could get one more in there. Okay, my friends, I was trying to figure out the third spot, and I love this one. I like this one. I don't really want to mess with this up here. So what if I created a spot like right down here for this little ticket? So I would put glue here, and I'd put glue here, but not here. And then this could slide in and out. I like it. So I think we're gonna try to maneuver all of that. All right, my friends, let's see if I put the glue in all the right places. I'm hoping. All right, so the small ticket's gonna go here. All right, that works. gets in there. It'll hold. That's good. Okay. And then I wanted this to go here. Let's see. I might have put too much glue. Well, we got a little opening. Well, what if we did it like that? Okay. And then where did I want this one? Oh yeah, I wanted this one over here. Oh, I did it. I wasn't sure if I left enough space. I don't know how I feel about this space. It's a little bit loose right there. So what if I add a layer of this paper back in here? It can kind of just like that. And I think that could work. Let's give it a try. All right, let's check it out, my friends. There we go. Perfect. All right, I feel like I need to add a daisy or something like that onto the page somewhere. All right, my friends, I added the little suitcase down here. I added some of that handmade paper scrap up there, and then I'm gonna add this flower to the corner as well. And I think we'll come in like this. All right, my friends, remember our crunchy paper? Obviously this has been typewritten on with an old-fashioned typewriter, and this is dated 1963. So this is kind of fun. I'd like to use it. It's also beautifully yellowed on its own, and so I thought, let's go ahead and use that. That feels good. It sounds nice, and let's go for it. I'm gonna go ahead and get the glue down on the paper, and then I'll get this put on top. I'm gonna get it down here. Beautiful. All right, my friends, I'd like to add a little bit of interest to this page. I added a flower up here. We have our paper clip here, so I do not want to cover that. It's just a nice little detail that you don't always find naturally on things. Usually it's created, but we like that, so we're gonna go ahead and keep that exposed. And I'm thinking I'm tearing this paper here. And so we've got this piece here. What else can I get from this scrap of paper? We could tear it here. And then we could tear it at the top. All right, we've got this scrap of paper now. This is from either 1934 or 1943. It's authentic. A beautiful ephemera that my friend BB sent me. It's an old register, and it has the names of the folks that purchased something, and then it's got the price, and it's just kind of neat. So I could tear this, but I'm thinking maybe I don't want to, but kind of maybe I do. Yikes. Okay, let's tear it, you know. Let's go for it. Let's give it that nice edge that we love. It'll make it smaller, but that's okay. It's here. I have it, so I can create with it. So I need to remember that. You know, sometimes I love things and I don't want to change the integrity to them, but I'm going to put them in a book, so I'm changing it anyway, and I need to remember that. And then let's add this little piece for a final touch. You know what? I think I like it right here. All right, I think this page looks great. It is complete, and our tag is good to go and snuggled in this nice pocket. And now we're going to move forward. I think I'll go ahead and leave this one alone. Right, sticking with our earth tones, trying to keep that in mind in each spread that I do, I will go ahead and use this. We can still see that there's something back there, but I think also let's have some fun and add a photo. We'll plan on a photo and a pocket. And so check out this guy. His name, look at him, he just has it going on, and he is showing it off, and he is happy to do so. So this is a postcard, and his name is Raphael Dramillo. And it's Henry's friend, apparently. I wonder if I should put this in. I was going to put him under the paper and like tear it out like I've been doing. But since it's got writing on it, what do you guys think? It might be fun to use this as the actual tag. Maybe we'll do that because that's kind of fun. That's a fun piece. All right, let's do that. So we can still do what I was planning, but let's go ahead and maybe tear around these ladies. She's wearing a floral dress, so that inspired me to use this photo in here. Now this says, to friend Rosa, and Sanchez, from Esther Lopez. And so I thought we could go ahead and center that there and pop it underneath this. I did look these up on Ancestry and I was not able to find the families, so we're going to go ahead and use it. Typically I will search and look and try to find the families and give them the photo, but I was not able to do that. And I'm at a point now where I have so many wonderful photos that if I can't find them, I just have to use them. I was trying to hold on to them and keep trying, but I just have to be realistic with the amount of time that I have, that I can give it a shot. And I sometimes get lucky, and I love that so much, but then I've got to move forward with it. All right, so they're going to go right down in the center of the illustration here. And now we're going to tear this paper. By the way, this letter is dated August 6th of 1963. And I was thinking we could add a splash of color with those right up in the corner. I think that's absolute perfection. Now, before we commit to that, let's figure out where we want to add our gentleman. Maybe he goes over here. Maybe we do with something smaller on this side. Let's see what we have here. Oh yeah, we have some smaller tags we can do. Let's plan on doing that. All right, my friends, so I'm thinking I want to put a pocket down here, but I wanted to add a little bit of fabric underneath of it. So I am going to add this right here. All right, my friends, I got the fabric down and I got a small pocket put on for a small tag. Look at that, super cute. All right, my friends, we are on to the next page, and I'd like to add a doily to this page. So let's start by gluing this down because this is so pretty and I definitely want to use it. All right, my friends, I'm going to slide this over here a little bit and we're going to grab this doily. How pretty is this doily? So I thought what I would do, so that I didn't cover the whole thing here, I want to put the doily halfway on the page, but I don't want to cut it. So what I'm thinking is I'll go ahead and also get the rest of it over onto this page. I think that's a cute idea. And while I'm playing with that, I'm going to move this around. I'm trying to be thoughtful here and wondering, you know what I could do? Oh, I just got an idea, my friends. I could glue these two pages together. Let me just make sure there's only two. I could glue these two together. So the doily could actually go over to this one here. Okay, like so. And then I could grab my circle punch and do a punch right here and put a really big tag in the top. I'm kind of loving that. Yes, loving it, loving it, loving it. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Okay, my friends, I want to share with you both sides. So, but I'm going to put this here because this is still not completely dry. So here's the first side, and I'm going to leave it because it's really beautiful. Now, if somebody wanted to come in and add something here, they sure could. You could do a lot here. You could stencil on the edges. So much could be done here, but I like it the way it is. It's just soft and dreamy. And then here, when we move this out of the way, you can see how these work nicely together. We've got busy over here, we got calm over here. It looks really, really pretty. So we're gonna pop this back in here, like I said, because things are drying. And then we have this side. Let me move this. Well, okay, yeah. We've got a picture here. I am gonna leave this because it's kind of a unique picture, and it definitely has all of the earth tones that we're going for today. And then we have this side. We got the fabric, we have our seed packet, and we have our doily that's going over it. And of course our pocket is ready. So my friends, oops, I'm gonna put this here again for the drying of this, but I went ahead and I backed this cut apart onto some vintage dyed paper that I had. This was a vintage book page. And now we're gonna see if it fits in the pocket. I'm pretty sure it will. I'm gonna slide it right in there. And it does. And I like the way it looks. And then this side has the blue, so I like the way that looks as well. All right, my friends, let's use another vintage piece of paper. This is a payroll change slip, and this is from February of 1966. All right, my friends, I thought what we would do is let's go ahead and make sure we use this. This is unique. There's not a lot of projects that I would create that would work with these tones because this is not my natural like go-to, but it's perfect for this project, which I'm so happy about. All right, but the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do some tearing. Okay, so I'm thinking let's go ahead and add this. Yeah, let's add it as a pocket, and then we'll add some things to the pocket, but let's add something out here too. What if we add a guest check here, maybe, and maybe something here, and then a pocket here. What do you guys think about that? I like it. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll just get it glued down now. All right, we've got this fantastic sunflower. What if this was here, and then inked around the edges, and then this was like here? What do you think about that? I think that looks kind of cool. And it can be written on right there. Let's go ahead and ink up this edge. Let's go ahead and bring some more green in. Why not? Alrighty, my friends, we are going to pop this on here. All right, my friends, we've got 2 tags. I went ahead and inked them and I backed them on the book pages. They got a little wrinkle, but they'll straighten out when they're in the pocket, so not too worried about that. But we can go ahead and slide these in here. Oh, that looks great. Love it. They're nice big tags, and so it's nice to have a nice big pocket for them. I can even leave them sticking out a little bit if I want to. I think that looks cute, very textural. I have this full piece of the kit. I could use it on the back. It looks so good with the green. Maybe let's do that. Let's move to the back and let's trim it, and then we'll go ahead and get it in there. I got these papers glued onto vintage writ dyed papers. And now I'm going to go ahead and tear the edges away. Friends, doesn't the purple look gorgeous on top of the green and then the printable kit on top of it? I love this, so I'm not going to do anything else to that. I think it's fantastic. It can be journaled on. A photo could be added, whatever somebody would like to do. I think this is perfect where it is. All right, so I'm kind of working my way backwards now because, you know, I can. But I thought what we would do, something that we haven't done yet in this journal, is we're going to take a cut. We're going to cut from here to about here. And that is going to be a nice big pocket. You can see I'm going to put a line just right here and then all the way down the bottom. All right, for this page here, I'm going to go ahead and use this image. I had removed this one because I needed to for something I was making. And then let me just get the white part of the page out of the way. And then I'm thinking I'll go ahead and cut away this part of the tree just to give it some movement. And then I'm thinking, let's go ahead and put something behind it. We have this beautiful paper that I dyed, and it's a letter, and it's vintage, and when I dyed it, the ink from the letter bled, and look at the gorgeous results from that. So let's go ahead and attach this here. Try to get this just right if I can. Okay, let's go ahead and get this glued on here. All right, my friends, I got this glued down, and I love the way that it looks, except for where the tree stops. And that was just because that was the deal with the image, I think. Do I have more of that image? No, I don't know why that ended up like that. What was going on that I couldn't have the rest of that tree? This was from over here. Oh, it must have been the top of the page or something. So anyway, that bothers me a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some marker here, and I'm just going to create the rest of the tree with it, perhaps like that. And maybe I'll just kind of color that in. I don't know. But just make it so that it's not so abrupt, right? Well, it's not perfect, but I think it looks better, and maybe we're slapping a flower on it. Yeah, what if we do that? This is a nice big pocket, so I was thinking I could take this nice big piece of watercolor paper that I have and turn it into a tag. What do you guys think about that? All right, so now I'm going to take that and pop it in the pocket and see if it sort of pulls everything together. Yeah, I like it because it really works with these flowers here. So, okay, very good. Okay, my friends, well, we have finished our last spread in this wonderful journal. Well, it's really an altered book journal. I love how it turned out. My official video for this collaboration is going to be the flip through of this book. I hope you'll join me for that. And my day is the 23rd of August. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you building this altered book with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you soon.